What if Stardew Valley had an entire second town? One chock full of so much more than ever before. Today, I have for you folks, my first time ever playing Ridgeside Village, one of the most popular mods for Stardew Valley, which adds a whole nother village of the same name just up the hill. As usual, I'm not allowed to look anything up about it, so strap in for another adventure filled to the brim with new people, places, daring challenges, and of course, things to farm. This is Stardew after all. But before any planting, I noticed something different the moment I arrived.
Oh!
Those stairs aren't usually there. Robin led me to my new farm. This'll be my first time on a wilderness farm as well, and I kicked off my first day on Card Farm with a classic batch of 15 parsnip seeds. I set to work clearing some space with which to become a proud new farmer, where I planted my seeds with sprinklers in mind. I've learned from the past. The moment I walked off the farm, Ridgeside made itself known.
Oh, what's this?
This is Lenny, and from this little chat, I learned that she was Lewis's older sister and mayor of Ridgeside Village. I guess it runs in the family. And supposedly, there was some kind of cable car this way? I first encountered a concerning sign, as well as a strange robot, and upon stepping into this thing, I found myself...
Whoa. It looks a little funky. I like it. I like it.
And there I was, on the mountainside. A few new-looking folks walked by me, but I wanted to get a lay of the land first.
What's that?
It was some kind of crystal, apparently, in which I could see small islands and waterfalls.
This looks kind of like an unrepaired greenhouse. Am I on another farm? Is this the Ridgeside farm? Hey now, this is giving Ridgeside farm vibes.
I wasn't sure, but I did find some interesting forage that I didn't have the inventory space to pick up. Some things never change. I decided to eat them, lest they go to waste, and took inventory of what things I might be looking for this time around.
We have extra fish right there. Yes, there are extra fish. I don't know what that is, but that's new, I believe. And then there's a lot more people.
That was kind of the flagship of the mod description when I went to get it. I read as little as possible while installing it, but apparently it more than doubles the amount of people. And by the way, this is my second time ever playing any mod. My first go was with Expanded. So I tried to use what I'd learned from that experience this time around. Consequently, instead of getting overwhelmed, I decided to go home. I did meet one of those many new folks on the way home, Floor, who seemed to be giving
shy and awkward but intellectual vibes.
And I ate a leek off the ground by the street, like any normal individual. I'm still gonna be the weirdest one here, aren't I? I made a box to alleviate my inventory woes, and went to town to knock the folks I knew off the go and speak to everybody quest, where I also stumbled into a few more Ridgesiders, Carmen, a fisherwoman, Philip, a physical therapist, and Yuma and Shido, who were brothers. And by the end, I noticed this area up here has infrastructure to support that gondola thingy. Neat. I used up my remaining energy, clearing more stuff up.
Oh yeah, mobs spawn on the farm. It's the wilderness farm. I don't have a sword. Holy shit.
After an absurd amount of scythe swinging.
Yeah, my first bat on day one.
Sounds like a win to me.
Okay, I'm scared now.
I ran away and slept in my bed for one of what I'm sure will be very few times and scored level 1 foraging. I cared for my new farm on day 2, scored this man's old fishing rod, and took a look at how incredibly busy the birthday schedule is now.
Tort? What the hell is tort?
I spent a little time crossing all the valley villagers off the meet and greet list, plus Trini here, who was rather particular about her name, and what it wasn't.
The fact that she said tiny means it's probably Trini.
That's my best guess. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Trini? Trini. She said tiny though.
I snagged more seeds like any true farmer, and stumbled into...
Whoa, sir.
This is Mr. Aguar. He was fairly blunt and terse, but I had a feeling I'd be chatting with this fellow again. I quickly put my diversified investments in the ground and returned to find Keahi, a seemingly spunky Ridgesider whose dad has a restaurant? Sorry Gus, but I gotta check that out. On the way up,
what's that up there? You a bird? A little bird? I don't think that was up there before. What's that?
That, folks, I believe is what they call foreshadowing. I walked into a cutscene once I entered the village proper. I think this is where they expected me to go the first time, and Lenny gave me a little tour. I saw this fairly pricey log cabin hotel, this lively town square featuring Lenny's office, this little food vendor place called Pika's, this starbound stage where Lenny did one of those casually saying something that isn't very casual things.
Dangerous fruits and spooky ghosts. What? Dangerous fruits and spooky ghosts? Like, is that a dangerous fruit? What's going on here?
Yeah, some fishy is going on here. Or should I say fruity. Lenny told me about a couple more things, like farms, and a fairly aggressive hint about helping somebody with their confidence, before letting me loose on the village, where I quickly found a useful map. I poked around and met a few others, like Lola, one of a pair of lovebirds here in the town, and a few more people in this particularly large domicile. Arya, a bookworm of the non-fiction sort, Maeve, another terse person, some guy I missed named Sonny, and Irene, who was the chef here at what I later learned was called the Amethine Residence. Oh boy, this is just one building? I'm going home. I bumped into Jarek on the way home, a jovial, confident fellow, and used up the rest of my energy on clearing out more trees from the farmstead and fighting off a few intruders. I put a small amount more work into the farm the next morning and decided to try some meta. The internet seems to think fishing in the early days is peak, so I spent all my energy on day 3 yoinking fishies up here, which scored me this haul. I also discovered my farm has a little bit of river in the southwest, and I plucked up a bunch of local forage by night since that costs 0 energy. Level 1 fishing. And
Yeah, look at that fishing money. Yeah.
I had to evict a pest from my farm on day 4. Nasty crows. But I got 45 more where those came from thanks to my fish money. And speaking of fishing, Carmen mentioned that Willie said that Blair was a good student assistant. No idea what that means, but something's going on with the fishing, I think. Once I had the new snips planted and watered, I headed back to fish in the mountains where I met Ian, who told me he works for a living, but he didn't say what he does, which left me in pieces.
What does he do? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do?
I inhaled my forage for more energy to fish, crashed out a bit about this bubble spot I simply couldn't reach, and reeled in this haul during the day's meta gameplay. Overnight, I dreamed of level 2 and level 3 fishing, and some more sweet cash. Marnie came by with a cat next morning, so I aggressively randomized its name until I got
Zortus! Zortus! Well, little Zortus, you be a good kitty now, okay? Yeah, that's the cat name. Zortus!
And you may as well start bracing yourself for more names, because when I noticed it was this girl's birthday, I went back to Ridgeside to try and give her a gift, despite the fact I hadn't even found her yet. The first new person I met was Blair, another fisherwoman with some serious confidence.
Oh, hello, Watson. I'm Blair, your future wife. What?
I also learned that Ian's work seemed to be related to wood, and I met Chiara, who seems to be Italian, and I met Isabel, who I learned absolutely nothing about, and I met Richard, the owner of that log cabin hotel, and I met Maddie, who I learned absolutely nothing about. And in this little place called Heaps, I stumbled into 4 more people. Shanice and Lorenzo, a married couple who managed this village's general store, Corinne, who works at that restaurant thingy, and Ezekiel, who I learned absolutely nothing about. Lorenzo had something quite interesting in his stock.
You already sell the Deluxe Speed Grow for, I think, less than Pierre sells it for.
That is useful. I met Pika, the owner of Pika's, which is indeed the name of that restaurant thingy. And oh boy, did they sell a lot of recipes. Faye was manning the stand to sell them, with hopes to launch a fashion career. As I continued to hunt for the birthday girl, I found Sonny, the Amethine butler, and Louie, who seemed to be a kid in the Amethine fam. This is Bert, who apparently lives on the south side of town, where I found a big ol' orchard.
I recognize some of these trees, but not others. Can I just yoink these? Surely not. You want to hug this tree, but you're afraid people will judge you. That's fair.
And this right here is Olga, wife to Bert and mother to Trini, and aunt to Alyssa. So I started sniffing about this area thoroughly. In these efforts, I found Tort, who angrily nipped at my heels, lovely, as well as this smaller farm here, where Jarek was selling some spare seeds at a discount. So I bought them. I also stumbled into Freddy, the other half of that lovebird duo, and Anton, who I learned absolutely nothing about. Are you overwhelmed yet? I was. There are so many people. I stumbled into this laboratory where I found that Aguar fellow again, complete with some very suspicious notes. My best guess from them is that he has an assistant we haven't yet met, and that Mr. Aguar is somewhere on the border between science and magic, which sounds mighty interesting. I nabbed some new forage, Ridgeside monkshood, on my way to escape the the overwhelm. Sorry, Alyssa, I tried. And planted some of the spare seeds I'd procured. Once I had the whole thing watered too, I ran over to the mines, where I was bequeathed an absolutely horrible sword, and used it to make it down to level 5, scoring these things. In my Stardew gamer dreams, I acquired level 1 farming, level 2 foraging, and level 1 mining. Clint shoved a furnace blueprint in my hands at 6 in the morning. Thanks, Clint. The rain let me save my energy for the mines, where I reached level 17. I slew the slimes required for guild membership in this infested level, only escaping alive thanks to some cheese I found in a trash can. I took a break partway through the delve to purchase this femur with my new membership, which was just a little better than the rusty sword. Plus, I got to use one of those tips from the comments of my other Stardew stuff.
Yeah!
Using a club, right click, then spam left click, if you're wondering. Thanks for that one. I ferried my loot, sans sword, back to the homestead, where I smelted my first copper, whilst running defenseless from these not so friendly friends. Combat level 1, well earned. I had a small harvest on day 7, replanted with some beans, watered the crops, and acquired wood till my energy reserves were dry, which I used to make a couple more chests for organization. And then I overexhausted myself moving them. Oops. The effect of that was gonna hurt tomorrow morning if I didn't level something up, so I went looking for forage in Ridgeside, where I once again stared at this strange crystal thing.
Upon looking closer, you can vaguely see what seems to be small islands and waterfalls.
I know I've mentioned this one already, but man, that is suspicious. I scored this haul before popping into the village proper, where I found a cutscene with Philip, Shido, Yuma, and Tort. The lads called me over, and then discreetly asked me to play a bit with Yuma, who gave me quite the formal introduction to this little guy, Tort. Torts? The tortoise. I'll leave you the finer details of the game's cutscenes for you to pause and read if you're interested, but just know Torts doesn't like me. Yet. Blair pretty much confirmed she's the daughter that Carmen's been bragging to me about, and I met Sean, the man-bunned nerd bro.
Today's perfect day to grab a nice cold Joja Cola and read random encyclopedia articles. Okay. I think I know what we're working with here.
I like this guy for some reason. I immediately discovered this quest board just nearby.
10,000 G on completion.
Spicy. The quest wasn't timed either, so I'll be going after that just as soon as my equipment doesn't absolutely suck. On the way home, I stumbled into this in the northwest of that foragey zone.
There's a faded text engraved on the tome. The words can barely be read. Here lies...
That's definitely not a tome, more like a tomb for sure, but I had no clue what that third word there could be. I also found this note.
Stargazing guide for Cookie. The stars are most visible after 11 p.m. on a clear night. Don't stray too far from the house, okay? A. Oh no. For Cookie? Who's Cookie? Where did Cookie go?
This is like mystery number 3 in this one area, but I must say I'm now quite concerned for Cookie. At least, until I was distracted.
Whoa. Whoa.
I had a little sit and zoom out because, man, that is beautiful.
We must be high up. If we can see over these mountains and can see the curvature of the earth.
I popped by Lenny's office before I left, and I noticed this little box with stars on it. So many possibilities in one little town, and I'm here for it. I caught Maddie leaving just after I'd returned home, who once again shared absolutely nothing about herself. How endearing, Maddie. I sold one of each forageable I found, hoping to check those off for collections, and fought my demons with a scythe that night because somebody left their femur in the mines. Day 8 was a mostly vanilla day. Most of the parsnips finished up today, along with a few extras, which I harvested with the farming buff from Monkshood. I saved this and sold these. Lewis told me about this little house with puffball apple-looking things in it. I'll go ahead and assume you know most of the vanilla, unmodded game, so you probably know how this one goes. If you don't, I've got the perfect video to catch you up, where I played the whole of Stardew Valley to 100% for my first time ever. It's a blast. After that fateful encounter, I met this guy, Kenneth, who seems to be the one who takes care of the light fixtures around town.
Did you know that fish do not have vocal cords? I wish my ex-husband didn't have them either.
Thanks for sharing, Carmen. I stopped by Pierre's to sell these guys, snag that inventory upgrade, sell these guys, and procure 57 more parsnip seeds. Marty asked about my cat.
I'm sure Zortus will be a little shy at first. It takes a little while for an animal to get comfortable in a new setting. Yeah, I'll see if I can get Zortus to be, happy about everything. Oh, look at you curled up next to the chest. Aren't you adorable little Zortus?
Yeah, I sowed my new snips, featuring some more sprinkler-friendly spots, and with some energy from the forage I didn't sell yesterday, I dove in the mines with my femur and reached level 26 before heading out. I scored this steel small sword on level 20 and dropped a bomb right here I'd found during the spelunk. I smelted some of my winnings and dreamed of level 2 farming and level 2 mining. The farm had a small yield the next morning, and Mom dropped me some cookies in the mail, so I still had plenty of energy banked for another mines delve, despite all this watering. I stopped by the wizards first to drink some raw forest magic. Yeah, so then I plunged downward, where I scored my first ring of the run, used my weapons,
Feel the awesome power of my leg bone!
and almost made it to level 40. But the energy bank just wasn't quite enough. I pushed as deep into overexertion as I could go, but, well, combat level 2.
You're a mean one. Dark zone. I could be at iron already, but instead with very happy luck you spared me a ladder at the very end. Teach me a new recipe.
Dark Zone equals Grinch confirmed. The spirits were very happy today though, so after my way too many crops were watered, and I'd made some new furnaces with yesterday's gains, I delved again. Budgeted on leeks this time, plus a crystal fruit I found along the way. I scored the loot from these 2 chests, and stopped here at level 50. I sold my extras to Marlin, made 2 more furnaces, in which I began to smelt iron, moving up baby, and sprinted to the newly legible Junimo scroll to turn in the whole spring forage bundle. I earned some forage seeds and access to these 2 scrolls. On the way home, I passed out in the mud, where I dreamed of level 3 mining. Day 11 was the beginning of 2 big things. First, the Iron Age began, with a cozy 8 sprinklers to get me out of this watering loop. I cleared another 5 levels to get some more precious iron, and bumped into Ian on the way home, who threw me a bunch of mixed signals about his occupation again. What do you do, Ian?
Are you like contracted for like woodworking services?
I put some work into the southern parts of the farm clearing while I waited for my extra iron to smelt and scored an extra 3 sprinklers for my trouble. Then I decided to pop over to Ridgeside for some foraging. Carmen ragged on her ex-husband again. There are some real problems there, man. What is going on? Anyway, upon reaching the side of the ridge,
Oh, what's this? Oh, it's one of those things.
I'd encountered some sort of fruit again that seemed, well, dangerous before it spookily disappeared.
Oh. Okay.
I can't put my finger on it, but I swear I might have heard something about this. Though strangely, it did have some resemblance to a Junimo. I finally met Alyssa when that cutscene ended. Happy late birthday, I guess. Grabbed what forage I could find, headed home to grab some local forage, and decided I'd try sleeping in my bed so the danger fruit doesn't eat me. The farm bore its bounty the next morning, including the other 4 gold star parsnips I needed. I decided against replanting, sold my no star snips, and took all this energy and energy-giving forage with me to the mines, where I delved once more. My health was questionable during this one because level 57 gave me 3 of these hazes that spawn bats back to back.
Oh, did you just double it up? Did I get a second one right after the first one?
3 of them.
A third one, dog? Give me a ladder.
And I was working with random stuff that was just on the ground as my primary healing source, which you'll notice is mostly gone now. Fortunately, I handled this challenge with a level head.
Get away from me! Oh my god! I just want to survive!
Cool as a cucumber.
This is revenge for that early bat I killed. This is what I get.
Eventually, I escaped the waves of bats and found
my first artifact on level 59.
And upon discovering more bats, I made a solemn vow.
I'm gonna turn you all into lightning rods. I hate you so much. I don't like bats.
Just when it seemed my misfortune would keep me from reaching level 60 tonight.
Oh, go! Yes! Give me the crystal dagger!
That was close. I am quite a fan of the daggers in this game, so I sold my sword and my beloved femur and started practicing.
I see a bat. That's what you get.
And then I passed out in the middle of the guild hall. Level 3 farming, level 3 combat, and level 4 mining. The farm had a small harvest the next day, and I spent the early hours cleaning the place up before shoving off to the egg festival for sweet, sweet strawberries. 35 will do, thanks Pierre. I talked to everyone in attendance, which seemed to be only Valley villagers, until the race that is. Look at all this competition. My seasoned Stardew eyeballs were no match for these noobs. So after Lenny told Lewis to put a sock in it, it. I walked away with my brand new straw
I
hat.
got the straw hat. None of you children can have it. It's mine.
Right, this is my hat. I've been smelting during that hunt and scored a few more sprinklers for my little farm and planted my strawberries in a nice, functional arrangement in spring year 1 for my first time ever. Now that's some character growth, am I right?
Wet the ground with juice of life. Wet the ground with the juice of life.
Water. I was watering these spots from my other seeds. I was giving them water.
Wet the ground with the juice of life.
The queen of sauce taught me coleslaw the next morning, and the rain deprived me of the joy of witnessing my strawberry sprinkler combo. Tomorrow then, I dropped off 11 things to the community center that I'd been saving, featuring finishing the spring crops bundle, which earned me some speed grow, and unlocked the boiler room. Soon after, I learned
There's 2 birthdays on this day.
some people share birthdays now. That is gonna be something I forget a lot, isn't it? I sold some things to Pierre and Willie so I could procure this fiberglass rod before heading home to drop all my speed grow on strawberries. I emptied my wallet tactically on some more seeds and spent the night fishing the Pelican Town River, featuring crossing all these off the first catch list.
Ah! Fisherman, an achievement. Very good.
One down, many to go. Around 9 p.m., I was caught in a tough decision about whether to eat this jelly for fishing energy.
I'm probably gonna get. I'm probably gonna get more of this later, you know, from fishing in rivers, which I'm gonna have to do multiple times over the course of the remainder of these 100 days. So I'm just gonna.
I took a few new additions to the CC, mostly thanks to the rain, sold the rest, and slept comfy in my bed that night. My gamer dreams included level 3 foraging and level 4 fishing. It was raining again on day 15, so I still can't show you my sprinklers in action. I decided the straw hat still wasn't for me before plunging back into the mines. My base tier pickaxe was not cutting the mustard, so I only made it to level 68 before the energy was dry. I did get this book and this hat along the way though. I dodged a few extra monsters while smelting before sleep. Now you can see how awesome the sprinklers are. Go on, strawberries, go. I went hunting for copper this day for pickaxe upgrade purposes, and I finally worked out part of what you guys have been trying to tell me in the comments about resetting the mines.
Oh, so people reset on 20 because they get an automatic ladder to go to 21 where ore will be.
This is apparently more efficient than going to any other copper level for farming copper, I think. Anyway, once I'd gotten enough copper, so my mic got a little messed up on day 16, but a chance for redemption had arrived all the same.
First thing tomorrow, that right there got to go.
Because folks, I'm not gonna mess it up this time. And if you're wondering what I mean by that, well, you can find out in my 100 Days of Stardew Valley Expanded video. I'll drop you a link to it at the end of this video. I spent my remaining hours of the day trying to mine deeper, but Base Pick firmly rejected that plan. I pulled up a small harvest before promptly taking Ancient Boy to Gunther next morning, where I got a little introduction to the museum. Good news, Gunther. I have stuff for you. I snagged my now plantable Ancient Seed and some quest money for the stuff before having this guy upgrade my pick and get me more stuff from my special rocks.
I want ore. Give me ore. I want ore. Give me ore.
Good news, Gunther. I have stuff for you. My contributions earned me some extra seeds, and I emptied my wallet on some extra ore, because otherwise someone's gonna take it from me. I very carefully planted my ancient lucky find, made her a dedicated sprinkler, and ran away from it immediately. I made a trip to that Heaps place to trade 1 cauliflower for 2 deluxe speed grow, and a few Ridgeside things happened on the trip. Sean tried to mess with me about danger fruit, but that's apparently just a myth. Just a myth, guys. Clearly nothing to worry about. Blair mentioned a potential apprentice in relation to Willie, who did kind of give me his old rod, so that might be me. The local quest board requested iron, but I need my sprinklers to be done, so you're gonna have to wait, Yuma. Back home, all the ore I'd obtained allowed me to finish off the sprinkler needs, except for one. I'd bought the deluxe speed grow for my ancient seed in the hopes I could get this thing producing ASAP. Birthday boy Philip happened to be in town, so I gave him an unremarkable gift. I'm thoughtful like that. I re-emptied my wallet, on bait this time, and decided to fish in the ocean.
It is raining. I should be fishing for catfish. This is foolish. Oh!
Can't be mad about Neil though, so I stuck around to see if I could get any more, and ended up scoring 6 more first catches and 2 extra eels to boot. I dropped one of them off in the night fishing bundle, and fell asleep running from the monsters on my farm like the brave boy I am. Level 4 farming and level 5 fishing, where I chose Fisher. I became a greenhorn on day 18, and I watered the only spots not being watered by my sprinklers.
Here you go, Zorthus.
I stopped by Clint's to procure exactly enough ore for that last sprinkler, and did a little fishing. Achievement number 3 popped when I caught this super impressive fish, and I scored my first sunfish and an extra sardine, because I sold all the ones I got yesterday, for these fishing bundles. I used up my energy chopping trees, popped down that last sprinkler, smacked down torches on the sprinklers for future nighttime planting sessions, and sought some more free energy on the ground in this area. Real World Watson was quite tired this day, so after admiring my farm for a bit, I had an early night. I plucked some beans out of my fully auto-watered farm, received some money and a cauliflower quest in the mail, scored even more free energy out of a trash can. Just look at all this. With that, I dove from level 65 to level 80 in the mines, where I nabbed some solar essence, gold, and this slime shirt from Ghosts.
When I choose my fashion sense, I'm looking to look like that substance that everyone loves, slime. That's what I heard the ladies like. They like a slimy guy. Musk is out, slime is in.
And I got these 2 lovely items on levels 70 and 80. My gamer dreams granted me level 4 combat and level 5 mining with the miner perk. Day 20 is the day I started smelting very frequently. Suffice it to say, basically all the ore I collect from here forward goes straight into my lovely furnaces. You'll see them dancing in the background. I also started a habit of saving my no quality forage to make seeds out of later. That smelting bonanza included
Our first gold.
and upon returning from a brief trip to the town,
What?
I ran into Kiwi?
Kiwi does not like strange person.
Yeah, I wouldn't want somebody that greeted me like
What?
either. Don't blame me, Kiwi.
What are you doing?
I decided I just had to know, so I actually used the walk function for once, because
Watson want to know where Kiwi is going.
I handed Kiwi a leak for science, and there they are in the socials.
What?
I followed this little thing for hours, during which I witnessed this.
What is happening?
I followed a bit longer before Kiwi decided to hide over here. Reasonable, to be honest. I wouldn't want to be followed for that long either. Unless, of course, it was on YouTube. Subscribe for more Kiwi. And more videos like this one too. And also Kiwi.
You perplex me greatly, Kiwi. I'm gonna let you do your thing.
And so that's what I did. I threw my evening at clearing up the farm some, featuring some metal excitement, and slaying my new least favorite creatures. All of my strawberries were ready on day 21. Guess that speed grow did absolutely nothing, but money is money. I brought Clint some metal for my new steel pickaxe, and brought more metal to the community center, plus some monster loot. 2 bundles complete, 2 rewards obtained, and 2 more rooms unlocked. Nice. I handed Jody her requested cauliflower, and smacked into this sewer cutscene where Jazz mentioned Gunther has the key. Of course he does. Who else would, right? I undertook a few useful activities while in the area, and fished in the ocean for the rest of the day to try and cure that ridgeside overwhelm, and sold all these lunkers. I dreamed of level 5 farming that night, and chose Tiller. But more ridgeside shenanigans arose the next morning. After allowing Demetrius to grow mushrooms in my cave, Yuma arrived to tell me Lenny wanted to chat.
Just gonna explain the whole Kiwi thing, maybe? I'd like to know what's going on with Kiwi.
I was very focused on one thing.
Kiwi?
A Lenny cutscene started as soon as I got to town, where she had a little project in mind. This minecart system, apparently constructed for the war, was in need of repair.
How about I give you the honor of helping us restore this old minecart system here? Oh, what an honor. Yes!
I love it when my character and I react the same way. That does not sound like an honor. Fortunately, I was only part of the team, and just had to bring 100% of the supplies.
300 wood, 10 iron bars, and 5 gold bars. That's actually not that bad.
Aye, Lenny, I reckon I can swing that one for you. I snagged another quest from the local board on the way home, and spent my day's energy on wood gathering, featuring finding Woody's secret in this tree. I used some of it to order myself a coop, because my future feathered friends are more important than some dumb cards, okay? I spent a little time gathering at the collections before sleep, and saw this.
That looks suspiciously like ivy.
I slept on those thoughts and scored this. I scored some carrots on day 23, as well as my shiny new steel pickaxe, which I took to the mines in search of a whole lot of copper to make some of those tappers I just unlocked on a very displeased day. And somehow, despite this...
Oh!
So am I just really lucky with ancient seeds? I think I've gotten one in spring year 1 of every playthrough I've done. Is that normal? I sort of just dove till level 32, featuring snagging this yam, this slayer goal, this forest sword, and all of this along the way. I spent my remaining hours smelting, planting this seed very carefully, clearing up the farm, and tapping 4 of my oak trees. I was super precise with managing my time. I decided not to get rejected on day 24. It's a lucky day, so I'll try flower dancing next year. I delved from level 80 to 85 first, featuring a dagger upgrade, the burglar's shank, and swapped to mining for iron afterwards, because with this fire quartz, I was now just 1 frozen tier away from working valley minecarts. I found my first ever not small magnet ring, scored the tier just after 10 p.m., and a coffee bean and glow ring finally soon after. My ending haul looked like this. I established this chest as the project box going forward, so I actually remember to do stuff, planted the coffee bean here, and headed to bed.
I should have checked the time!
Some things never change. The strawberries were ready next morning, and I started saving a little off the top for seed making later. I swung by the CC to drop off all the additions from the project box, and wrapped up the geologist's bundle, which completed the whole boiler room. I feel like I always get this one first.
Blah, blah.
Star number 1, check. Copper axe as well. Get on it, Clint. I delved once more afterwards, and did my best with these weapons and pickaxe, but only managed another 6 levels before having to leave. I did score the obsidian edge on level 90, and some genie shoes on level 91. Overnight, I dreamed of the Junimo's first piece of restoration, and of combat level 5, where I chose scout, and of level 6 mining. The metal situation was improving, and I got a bunch of tulips from the day's yield.
My plan is to give these to people to make them happy, like a happy birthday, have a flower.
Seems good. Kinda like this new coop I've got. Let's go get some chickens for it.
Great! Wumpus! Sneenano! Kotu!
Welcome to the farm, ladies. I started smelting quartz too, in preparation for phase 2 of the farm structure, and brought Robin this axe she lost for a little extra cash. During which, I noticed I still hadn't completed the introductions quest.
Who have I missed?
This person, apparently. Strange. I cleared up some space in which to actualize my plans, and took my new vanilla minecarts for a spin to hunt down some more iron and gold. I made it back just in time for bed for real this time, and dreamed of level 6 farming. Day 27 started with a bit more iron ore acquisition, a little bit of selling stuff I was saving, and retrieving my new copper axe. Then I spent the whole rest of the day fishing for catfish, level 6 fishing, and some fishing money. The queen handed me another recipe next morning, and I used the proceeds of all the mining and smelting to make 22 quality sprinklers. I placed them on my new farm zone and pruned the stumps with my new axe. Then I went on a mission. I started selling absolutely everything I could tolerate selling to get as much money for summer 1st as possible, starting with Pierre. I popped all my geodes and sold the proceeds, which was thankfully a gain. I sold more random stuff back on the farm, some of which was painful, but I only had one thing on my mind.
Blueberries.
Sorry, villagers, no tulips for you. The miscellaneous items in my mines chest were not safe either, so Clint got more business, featuring...
Oh, really now?
So I smelted that immediately. Marlin got to stock up on my extras as well. Every penny counts. I headed to Ridgeside to...
Oh, hey, who are you? Wait. Who?
That may have just been a person, but I'm suspicious after all this Kiwi stuff. Didn't Lenny mention ghosts? Ridgeside afforded me with a battery from the trash, and a smattering of forage, all of which I sold, along with even more painful sacrifices, which I capped off with my very first iridium bar. Anything for seed money. I was hoping to get at least 4,000 more. And that ought to do it. I awoke to the cowpoke achievement. What a time to get a total earnings achievement. But it's summertime, baby. I spent the day setting up the farm, buying 275 blueberry seeds and 14 salads because they seemed like good energy. Watering and tilling took a while.
And I really hope this is the only time I ever have to do this with a tier 1 watering can.
And the planting began at 7 p.m. Despite the danger friends that started showing up, I had everything planted just before 9.
Hold on while I deal with this one errant fool.
Get wrecked, errant fool. I did make a little extra space for my small amount of leftover seeds, which meant I now needed 5 more sprinklers. Fortunately, it rained the next day, and the oak resin started showing up too. I added a few more tappers so I could hopefully snag some more of that, and walked to the mines despite having mine carts. Let's not worry about that. I sought out my mineral needs for those extra sprinklers, which was, as usual, a very chill experience. I spent extra time on iron since I'd need a lot of it soon, and came home rather low.
Wait a minute.
I managed to get 2 out of 5 down whilst running for my life. Had a nap behind this tree for safety. Heard an earthquake during the night.
Right, that'll be the train station.
Level 7 mining. I crafted 1 extra by morning's light, plus my shiny new glowstone ring, and popped the 4 remaining sprinklers in these spots. Success. Blueberry profits online. I got my first eggs this morning as well, though I must admit I'd been neglecting these poor birds pretty badly. Lacking a silo, I still had 0 hay. I sold the eggs unprocessed for today, and determined I was short on copper to get that silo. So, after dropping off the summer forage to its bundle, completing the bundle and scoring more seeds, I went mining for copper, during which I said,
Oh, dwarf scroll 1. I did it again. Dwarf scroll 1.
I made a pit stop at home because inventory, but I spent the rest of the day delving deeper and almost made level 100. Level 6 combat. The weather warned me of a green rain on the morrow, so I said,
I'm planting every single tree I have, but I sold them all.
I tried to focus on the positive, like
Jade, because Jade's great. We love Jade. Just imagining someone that's like, my name's Jade, and I feel weird now. Hi, Jade. Sorry. Didn't mean to make you feel weird.
Yeah, sorry to all my Jades out there, but y'all are great for staying. So I planted what acorns I still had, ordered a fresh new silo with my new copper, bought a couple more salads, and said,
I don't see any other useful things besides pike to rub on my sore knee. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Folks, you made the hot pepper make sense with your comments. Explain this one.
What?
I spent the rest of the day questioning that and mining, featuring this Monster Slayer goal get and scoring my new hat.
A fashion hat. How absolutely fashionable.
I was also testing the waters more with that resetting the mines concept I mentioned earlier.
Is this credence to the idea that I should regularly go to the levels at which there is a pond because the one after is usually a good one for easy ore mining?
So that, plus the fact you're guaranteed a ladder to the next level after it, is my best understanding so far.
I think I'm starting to work out what you guys have been talking about.
So henceforth, when I wanted a particular type of ore or ores, this is what I did.
How interesting and fashionable.
Day 33 was a green rain day, so I did what any sane farmer would, and chopped the new trees that were now everywhere that had grown overnight from nothing, while some strange, potentially carcinogenic green sludge fell from the sky and coated my very fashionable hat. And I ate salad. I stopped by the saloon to see how the townsfolk were holding up, and their sentiments were mixed. I chopped till I dropped, and scored foraging level 5 whilst dreaming in the slimy sludge. The results also rebounded me on much of my overselling I did a few days ago.
Now we're talking. Okay.
I patched in a few scarecrows to the phase 2 zone, now that I had fiber again, and scored my first harvest from the coffee bean plant. Caffeine addiction incoming. I added more tappers to oak trees, gathered more eggs from my intermittently fed chickens, popped down torches on all my sprinklers, and ventured up to the train station. I'd used the quarry for a tree farm in my first time playing Stardew, once I learned how amazing oak resin and kegs were. This time, I wanted to try using this zone in the hopes of getting up and running on keg glory sooner and leaving the quarry intact for future stone and coal needs. So I paved the place for a nice clean orchard and had everything north of the railway and most of this eastern zone done before I passed out. I threw down a few more acorns in the morning on the way to the mines, where I realized I forgot my weapons. Time to go back. But when I got to the bus stop,
Oh!
Ridgeside had made itself known once again, with an absolutely massive cutscene. I'll show it at light speed so you can practice your pause game. Sorry, mobile watchers. Basically, these two, Kimpoi and Malaya, were attempting to return home to Ridgeside, but had gotten lost looking for the cable car. I escorted them to it, where we encountered Bert and Olga and Kimpoi are apparently siblings, and had missed each other very much. Then, Olga asked her apparent sister-in-law a very strange question.
How your legs doing? Getting used to those yet? Missing your
Now, hang on just a minute. That was a very mermaidy sounding question. Mermaid suspect number 1 told Olga to shush since I was here too, and they quickly switched to chatting about their daughter, who was apparently that Alyssa girl I'd hunted for not so long ago. I went with them to see what else I could learn about this mer mystery, where Malaya and Kimpoi were subsequently paralyzed by their anxiety about finally reuniting with their daughter after 9 years.
9 years? The f have you been for 9 years?
In the end, Alyssa began to sing. Bet she got those suspiciously mermaid-esque vocals from her suspicious mer mama. Alyssa happened to step outside soon after, and a tearful reunion ensued.
What is happening right now? What's going on?
Very sus. Very fishy. Fishy? Okay, sorry. So those two are in the socials now. Couldn't possibly guess their names yet.
Locked?
That's usually where the word single goes. No idea what that's about either.
What is happening, bro? What is going on right now? Okay.
And there's Kimpoi at my door. Good news though, he was gonna sell me new fruit tree types. Anyway, I finally got my weapons and had some me time whilst delving once more. I discussed what had just happened.
Apparently, somebody got their legs back and left their daughter in the care of their sister for 9 years.
Recording Watson hadn't just yet worked out the terribly suspicious cutoff of the word fins right there, but Editor Watson clocked it immediately. I secured this star drop during the delve. Recording Watson isn't always the smartest Watson.
You found a star drop. It's strange, but the taste reminds you of peace.
And peace tastes like more max energy, baby. I also had a rather nice drop from this slime.
What you got? Ooh, could it be a shadow dagger, perhaps?
We will be using the shadow dagger. In using it to slay my least favorite monster.
A bone! Hair bone? Hair bone.
And it looks like this.
Hey man, I got a bone to pick with me.
I snagged level 110 and these space boots at the end of the day's delve and headed home to make a single mayo machine.
DIY, baby. I'm a crafter now.
That particular copper bar was dropped by a shadow person, but an achievement is an achievement, and mayo is mayo. I burned the last of my energy chopping and encountered opposition at 1:50 a.m.
Get them! Keep them away from me! Stop! Oh!
Well, that was close.
Hi! Level 6 4G!
My nearly fatal efforts yielded me enough copper for 5 more mail machines, which I put over here. I finally got some hay for my egg-making lasses, till I had a solid bunch.
Also, look at all this energy! Haha, that's what I'm gonna use it for.
I am indeed a mayonnaise drinker. With the power of mayo and bombs, and a staircase for good measure, I obtained the skull key. Mines? Check. I spent the night on wood acquisition, and doing some math.
I'm realizing something important here. If it sells for anything close to salad price, there's like a proportion. Like you can just set things proportional to salad.
Recording Watson not so good with words, but he has a point. Salad costs 220G and provides 113 energy, less than 2G per energy. What I was trying to say there is that if for any edible item, the ratio of G to energy is worse than salad,
1 energy for every 2G of cell value. I shouldn't save it for energy, I should turn it into salad.
By just selling it and using the proceeds to buy salad.
There is a maximum value strategy there.
In other words, I believe my mayo drinking days just ended. I got a small harvest the next morning, one of which I saved for the CC, and I made a few extra sprinklers. I expanded the blueprint of the Phase 2 farm by a fair bit, mostly because I wanted to make sure I got 5 gold quality melons before summer was over. I bought as many seeds as I could, and topped this zone off with my extras. I also got this orchard station entirely paved just in time, almost. I scored my first ancient fruit on day 38. I patched up the last of the orchard paths, and I found my first one of these while showing it off. I also swung by Harvey's to confirm that salads were indeed more efficient at energy alone than energy tonics by price.
And you get a bunch of health. Is salad the best item on the market?
I stopped by the community center to drop off 6 things I'd saved and went fishing. I scored this Jewels of the Sea power book, my first rainbow trout, and the thing I came for.
Please have some quality. Gold!
I I'd had 0 options for the luau tomorrow, but a quick peruse of the vanilla wiki told me this guy, only at gold quality or higher, would get the job done. The spirits were on my side. Eggs became part of a balanced farm routine at this point. You'll see the machines dancing in the background from time to time. I dreamed of level 7 fishing that night from all my efforts. I did a bit of pre-luau chopping before dropping my gold star sturgeon right in this here pot. I chatted with the valley crew.
Oh, there's a lot of people here.
I chatted up the Ridgesiders too, and the dialogue was genuinely enriching. In particular,
Oh, I met the other person. I found her.
once I'd spoken to everyone here, I delighted the governor, scoring another achievement. Just look at him go. If you're intrigued to know what everybody said, here's a little speed run of a bunch more of them. I concluded my bonehead era that night and started adding some trees to my tree station. I started day 40 by handing the dwarf I couldn't speak to a topaz, completing, on summer 12th, the How to Win Friends quest. That's gotta be a record. I mined with that pawn levels only strat, featuring an extended pit stop to invest in more salad, grabbing a scroll from the guts of this bug, and noticing this in my... Somebody needs to check my game files. I really don't know how I keep getting these.
Oh my. I think I really like this method.
I ended the run with this haul. My new Stardew prowess was feeling good. One thing at a time, I suppose. Level 7 combat. My first couple of gold quality melons popped among the next day's harvest. And today's lightning storm prompted me to make my first lightning rods. I planted yesterday's seed find here, and I made a few additions. +1 to my furnaces, which I moved to here. +3 to my mail machines, which I put to work immediately. And +4 to my tappers, which I put on oak trees. I also made a crazy amount of deluxe bait because the game had told me about a Dorado frenzy. But I'd never actually interacted with a frenzy before.
Is it just an audio effect, or is there some visual effect I'm supposed to be looking for?
Yeah, that splish splashing was the frenzy, alright. But after 3 catches of not Dorado, I decided this wasn't it. Following my ears led...
Oh! That'll be where it is. It's visual. No.
Yep, just as I found it, it disappeared. Luckily, I managed to catch one the old-fashioned way.
Okay, well, I knocked it out. Cool. Done. That's what I came here to do. Weird.
Playing modded, still learning vanilla. I dropped a chunk of stuff off for Gunther's collection, featuring 2 of my remaining dwarf scroll needs. I also caught myself lacking...
I should buy some tomato seeds. I'm not growing tomatoes.
That could have been a problem. Close call. Those rods netted me my first batteries, and my delightful blueberries were ready as well. All 812 of them, to be specific. I shipped the quality ones immediately and visited Clint. Copper axes are just so pre-blueberry. I handed the rest to Pierre.
Nice. Sick.
Sick indeed. Let's get that last row of inventory, shall we?
Yes. Yes. All 3 of them. I've collected all 3 sacred bars. Together they make the power of the...
And I snagged one of those too. I swung by Willie's, who hinted about something.
Huh? Whatever could this be?
And I picked up the iridium rod because I had a little plan. After a small investment at Clint's, I sacrificed some of my hard-chopped wood to fix this bridge and went fishing on the eastern pier. I scored my first red mullet, plus a new achievement for catching 24 different fish types. I also got my first tuna, pufferfish, and the one my little plan was for,
Karimzin fish.
Karimzin fish acquired. I handed over 2 of those, a blueberry and a chunky 15 grand, to the community center, earned these rewards, stored this little guy for later, and popped by the cart lady's shop, where I snagged this rare seed. Linus dug in George's trash, and I added a few more lightning rods. Level 7 farming.
And 8 also.
Blueberries are OP. I grabbed another vault bundle the next morning, which earned me some cake. Then I said,
On day 43, I spent the entire day resetting the mines.
I mined exclusively ore nodes and the rocks that give extra stone, and I came away with this haul. I passed out adding 1 sprinkler to the farm. A decent harvest came to bear when I awoke, including a nice chunk of oak resin and my first gold quality ancient fruit.
That means I should probably save it, but I'm too broke for all that, aren't I? Discipline.
And so I saved it for later. Everyone's favorite new marriage candidate handed me my steel axe, and I immediately threw my hoe at him for a copper upgrade. I also had him process my geodes for the museum this time.
Jasper? I hardly even know her.
I was going a little stir crazy with how little Ridgeside stuff I'd done recently.
Orpiment? I hardly even know her.
So, I mentioned on day 1 that the only other mod I've ever played is Expanded. I'd noticed then that most of the stuff became available to me after finishing the community center. I wasn't sure if the same was true for this mod, but I did play like it was. Thus, my main objectives had become community center progression and money to pay for whatever the mod threw at me, with a consistent sprinkle of Ridgeside shenanigans along the way. To that end, I removed these chonkers with my newfound axe strength, added 8 more tappers, planted a few more seeds in the tree station, visited the secret woods for my first time in the run, and chopped trees and cinder sap with my remaining hours, which earned me level 7 foraging. I got a few flowers on day 45, but today was mostly a chopping day, featuring this combat XP book that came out of a tree. Thanks, tree. Here's how the skills were going, by the way. I did take breaks from the chopping to do a few things. I ordered a barn so I could start getting cheese. I fertilized all the oak trees in the tree station, which is why some of the day's chopping was all the untapped trees on the farm. I finally retrieved and used the dehydrator that I'd forgotten I'd get with this cave, and I planted the acorns from the aforementioned farm trees. I went to Ridgeside to further quench my urge to deforest, where I made a discovery.
The traveling cart is up here on Wednesdays.
I purchased these things, which ought to save me a little time. I also discovered a new forage while in the area.
Forest Amanke?
Amancay, apparently. Una flor de Sudamerica. I bumped into this note for cookie thing again, and reread this part.
You know, is that a hint?
So I rammed at a little cliff just a hair after 11 p.m. on a clear night, and had a little sit. Nothing happened. So I headed home on the gondola.
Oh, there was no cutscene.
Every time I used that before this, I got that little gondola cutscene. I was officially suspicious. I sold one of those amancayes for collections suspiciously. I collected and sold my first dried mushrooms for collections the next morning, and Zortus refused to watch me collect all 814 of these blueberries. I then said,
let's go sell it all. Directly to Pierre's face.
So that's what I did, and gave 20k right back in exchange for this recipe and these extremely crucial saplings. And I relinquished another 25k to complete the last vault bundle. +1 crystallarium and +1 emotions.
Yay!
2 down, 4 to go. I turned in a good few more things as well, including one of those cart purchases. And I started growing diamonds in this thing. I made use of that recipe I bought, the plan being to boost my upcoming blueberry profits, and hopefully not fall for the trap I fell into in year 1 of my expanded run.
Closed on Wednesdays.
Clint gave me my hoe back. I knew he couldn't keep her, and I continued to seed the tree station, and I added those required saplings here. I hoed my farm in search of clay for more dehydrators, featuring taking revenge on bats via Shadow Dagger, and got enough to expand the dehydrator operation again before sleepy time. Overnight, I dreamed of a second Junimo restoration and level 9 farming. I spent all of day 47 hunting for iron and stone. I found the last dwarf scroll I needed along the way, and this green jacket shirt.
Which is it, a jacket or a shirt? Oh, yeah, no, I get it.
And I snuck in a little fire quartz here and there. I came back with this haul and dreamed of level 9 mining. Demetrius requested a melon in the mail. Don't worry, my guy, I got a few. I added a couple more furnaces to smelt all the ore I snagged, and I purchased a lot of wheat seeds, which I planted in all these new spots I made. I sold all my spare gems in pursuit of future seed money, and checked on my new oak orchard, which was looking pretty good. As a consequence, I finally pruned all the oak trees assaulting my farm space. Good riddance. Those melons were done by next morning's rain, 35 of which I dehydrated. I saved 5 gold star ones and a few normals, and sold the rest, along with some other stuff. I hoed enough random ground for enough clay to make 2 more dehydrators, and chopped down all the other trees on the farm. I redeployed the tappers and acorns I acquired from that to the tree station. I tried to reset the mines today as well, but both level 61 and 101 were infested. My goal was coal today, so I sort of winged it with the other levels instead, which didn't really work out. I used 6 of it to smelt this, and the other 3 to make these guys. No crows allowed. I harvested 809 blueberries today, which felt amazing, and I immediately dehydrated 50 of them and retrieved my new batteries. I sold a bunch of my goods too, but saved these in the hopes of more dehydration because
I need to come up with 168,000 G before the end of fall. And I don't know if I can do that.
I meant end of summer there, but my math was suggesting suggesting I needed 600 deluxe speed grow and 1,200 pumpkin seeds, double seeds because Pierre's closed on Wednesdays, and the first harvest date with deluxe speed grow will be on a Wednesday. Fortunately, I had a few things yet stockpiled to help me hit that target. Speaking of stockpiles, my ore stockpiles netted me 17 more quality sprinklers. Now you see why I need so many seeds. I handed Demetrius his fresh melon and sought out more fire quartz and coal, 4 more dehydrators and sprinklers, now that the exact 2 places I needed weren't concurrently infested. I scored a couple ghost fish along the way, plus a purple mushroom, and all of this juicy goodness. I used that coal to start smelting more stuff for sprinklers, and almost hit 0 HP on my farm. What perfect conditions for sleep. Not to mention this loud plane flying overhead.
Mystery boxes can now be found.
And then...
Ooh, that is a lot more than I expected. Ooh.
Dried melons sell well.
I am very happy with this piece of information. Good job, melons.
Day 51 brought more rain, in which I smelted what remained of my sprinkler resources, dehydrated more bloobs, hunted for more clay, during which I scored my first mystery box, and crafted 4 more dehydrators. I crafted 25 more sprinklers once the resources were all refined, which nearly completed the zone I'd set up. I sought out the tiny amount of coal needed to fix that, sold a few things I'd been saving, and popped down the last spring.
Now, there's probably at least a couple of you that are having the why is he not using different farm space to maximize the utility of the sprinklers and instead doing it like this?
Yes, and I am one of them. I went on to say some stuff about maximizing farm space, subsequently admitted that doesn't make a ton of sense, especially in year 1, so let's just not worry about that. The dried blueberries felt good to grab in the morning, not to mention another 2 ancient fruit and more batteries. I elected to save them to make wine from, quickly dehydrated even more blue boo-boos, and sought out just a touch more coal for the kegs to make said wine. I planted exactly 1 more tree on the farm to serve as my future, hey, the oak resin at the tree station is ready, tree. And crafted my first 2 kegs for my first wine too. I snagged my first tomato pretty late in the season, close call indeed, and allocated the rest of my day to yoinking extra seed money from the water. I scored my first pike when I later switched to the town river, and sold this haul before bed. Level 8 fishing, and level 10 farming. And you know I'm picking artisan. George requested that hot pepper in the mail that he does, which thanks to the comments, I have learned apparently makes sense because of capsaicin. Wild. Then I said this.
Can we make year 1 so unabashedly smashed that year 2 is just Ridgeside for funsies?
I was very locked in on the community center and money first thing, but I said this because today was my first day finally entering the desert tactically. I met Sandy for the first time and immediately bought 600,
Just a little bit extra, just in case.
Okay, 650 deluxe speed grow, and a few seeds for future endeavors. I nabbed the local forage, wood included, and stuck the key in this door to complete this quest, though I didn't actually enter just yet. I spammed down all the deluxe speed grow in every spot, to the best of my ability, and ended up still running out. But heaps still exists, so I should be okay. I got most of it for cheap. I spent the rest of the night on more wood acquisition, during which I gathered at my skill levels. Overnight, I scored level 8 foraging, and the homesteader achievement for a $250,000 in revenue. Not bad. On day 54, I chose violence. After harvesting another 800 something bluebills, I destroyed each blueberry plant in turn and smacked down wheat in its place. This is a justifiably sweaty strategy that I worked out in my last playthrough, and I absolutely love it. These blueberries can't and won't produce again before summer's end, and with deluxe speed grow in place, this wheat, which grows in fall as well, will finish on fall 1st, preserving the till, water, and fertilizer through the season change with it. My math was apparently horrendous though, since I also didn't have enough wheat seeds. I used torches and a farm screenshot to inspect what I missed, and witnessed a respectable chunk of cash come in overnight, plus an achievement for selling a whole bunch of one specific crop. I wonder which crop that was. I scored more batteries the next morning, and the wheat I'd planted made spotting ground without fertilizer super easy. With so many blueberries left over too, the dehydration money situation was looking excellent. I grabbed a little more wheat to make sure this fertilizer made it, though this wheat was not gonna grow up in time. I got my first large egg today too. Guess the chickens don't hate me anymore. And I finished off placing torches on all the sprinklers. I also took the time to turn in all of these things to the mini bundles, completing both the summer crops and construction bundles, scoring these rewards. I put them both to work immediately. I hunted for clay with the rest of my energy and turned in early. I followed the plan for one more day, featuring retiring these last 2 plants here, and hunted once again for more fire quartz. You'll never guess why. I returned home to farm more clay.
What's up, Zortus? We love Zortus if you love Zortus. And if you don't, well, what is wrong with you?
Is this what cat ownership is? Requiring others to love your cat? Anyway, I have 4 more dehydrators now, plus a lot more oak resin. I took my clay fiending to the mines so I could look for it and fire quartz at the same time, but found something much more useful.
Ooh, is that a steel falchion?
Bye-bye, Obsidian Edge. Look how much faster it swings. This is money now. I swung over to the Moonlight Jellies Festival, and
everybody's here.
I spoke to everyone, and the opinions were mixed. Though Maddie said something about Mr. Aguar, maybe that's what she does. And Jarek, who'd been a bit flirty so far, laid it on thick.
Hey Watson, wanna watch the jellyfish with me? Hey, can you blame a guy for wanting to be surrounded by gorgeous things on all sides? Hey man, I respect the game, but you are playing for the wrong piece.
And then Yuma made me want to cry. Mr. Aguar said Lunaluz instead of Moonlight Jellies, which definitely aligns with that magical perspective on science thing. And Kimpoi and Malaya said some ominous ocean-related stuff. I'm on to you two. You're not getting this one past me. All of them were good, to be honest, but we just don't have time for the rest. So just enjoy these jellyfish with me and say goodbye to the last glow of summer. And fall finally started, with Richard at my door? This is the hotel owner if you've lost track. I do not blame you if you have. And apparently a piano player had arrived in Ridgeside. Curious. I harvested my very large bounty of wheat, admiring how surprisingly little clutter there was. I think because I hoed all the ground for clay? Might test that again later. I sold this bounty to Pierre and dumped all my hard efforts into pumpkin seeds, baby. As a very good Stardew player once said, the time of the pumpkin is nigh. I pruned the immature wheat. Your sacrifice will be remembered. Then I said,
time to plant a disturbingly large amount of pumpkin seeds.
And I did just that. 731 to be exact, which means I've got to come up with 521 more seeds before next harvest. Let's see if the dehydrators can pull that off. In the meantime, I set back to work in the mines, hunting copper once again, and passed out getting a little iron too. I examined my farm for missed spots on the morrow, and found none. Look at me go. I scoured the mines again this day as well, mainly in search of coal, featuring looping an infested level 63 over and over again with my fresh steel Fauci boy. I came away with lots of coal, and scored my first wine when I got home, which I sold. I queued up some more out of blueberries. +1 to the furnaces amidst the coal burning, +1 tapper for the notifying oak tree, and +3 more sprinkler spots to accommodate my beet seeds and rare seeds as well. Didn't finish that though because I didn't keep track of time. Level 8 combat, and a nice chunk of cash. Speaking of which, I said,
just about done penny pinching is what I'm trying to say. We get to stop being all, what's going on with the money? And we get to start going, what's going on with the town next door?
That time is coming, but for now, let's lock in. We got a lot to get sorted in a short amount of time. I checked off a few things for day 59, like Gold Star Ancient Fruit number 2, some raisins for collections, and of course watching Lewis get roasted next to this new sign that I could now use. I stopped by Ridgeside too, check out those fall mountains, and smacked into this guy, who was apparently that pianist person. Immediately after, I got a cutscene where it turns out Ridgeside's gonna have a special orders board too. The dialogue was tactful enough not to re-explain how this works, though it seems these people were also a bit more antsy about their stuff getting done starting next week. Am I just an errand boy to all of you? I grabbed a strange request from the Normie Quest board, bought the little extra fertilizer I'd come here for, talked briefly with Blair about that fishing apprentice thing again, and caught Yuma on the way home to finally give him the iron bar he wanted. Good luck fixing them swings, boy. I bought all the remaining fall seeds I hadn't already found or sold, remembered the traveling cart lady just too late to check her stock, used up all my coal once again, and added those seeds to this completed small addition to the Phase 2 zone. Before bed, I hammered out plans for the community center and noticed I was quite behind on animal stuff. I gave all the processors their new home the next morning. Blueberry shenanigans happen here now, and I swung by Pierre's where I put another dent in next harvest seed needs.
Alright, so we're getting there. We're getting there.
I was officially stressing at this point about making this all come together. The community center situation seemed possible with the extra cart lady day, and I really didn't want to miss it because I didn't get a barn, and these new cows till fall. Let's hope they like me soon. I had Robin move these buildings down here, and went after stone acquisition to make sure I could order the upgrades for them ASAP. I snagged my first special order on my way to the beach, where I took advantage of the rain to score 4 new first catches. I handed Pierre my dried goods again, the proceeds of which I spent on this coop upgrade. I stopped by the CC2 to turn in more things, completing the crab pot and ocean fish bundles, scoring these rewards. I once again dumped my remaining funds into pumpkin seeds, and I popped these pots down here for freshwater catches, and fished in the river to snag this tiger trout, with which I completed the river fish bundle too. I remembered the cart lady, and she had like 3 things I could have grabbed, but I had 0 money. Yikes. I pulled in my first wood skip whilst in the area, and tried to fish for Linus's trash order, and was surprised to find a fish.
Wonder if I can get a midnight carp here.
And on the very next cast...
Okay, I guess I can.
The next morning...
Whoa!
Guess I need one more of these. I started a hiding things from myself chest right here for some distant future needs. Snagged Fall's legendary fish, transacted with Pierre once again, popped this plum, blackberry, and wood skip into place, plus a few artifacts at the museum, which scored me a few more seeds, and a new language under my belt. Have a present, friend. The Pots provided periwinkle, thanks Pots, and I handed George his perfectly logical knee pepper. Hope that helps, my guy. Lewis told me about prize tickets, I reckon you know the drill, and I scored my first eggplants and bok choy from my little extra section. I spent my remaining hours hunting down a few more first fishies in the mines. I made a final transaction with Pierre the next day, crossing off the last that a pumpkin seed needs. I somehow got enough. Praise dehydrators. I threw my remaining 10k in a new gold axe, scored my first crawfish, and set off for a crack at the caverns to see if I could get that 10k back. I nabbed stone where I could, but the highest priority was downward progression. I made bombs out of the ore I found along the way, and with a particularly lucky level 21.
A dinosaur egg, that was 100% worth it.
I was on level 24 at 9:30 p.m. and level 25 not long after. Journal updated. This was my haul, and that egg went in my brand new incubator. Level 10 mining and the blacksmith perk. I received 10k more G in the mail for my level 25 run. Thank you very much, Mr. Chi. Also, Linus lost something, despite his incredible finding skill. Sure doesn't have trouble finding me at night. I swung by the CC to complete the fall foraging bundle. Check. And I bought a little extra on the seedage, just in case. I ordered the big barn today as well, and deployed serious discipline to stop myself from making this purchase.
Oh god, my thingy slipped.
I hunted for more clay up here, and got 0, and spent the day hunting for even more copper, featuring a small break to grab a new special order, and a little snooze on the job. The resin alert tree finally produced on day 65, and a small bit of blue wine showed up too. The last of the dehydration happened today too, and I swung by the orchard to tap a single maple tree, and sync up the alert tree with the rest of the oaks. My skills looked like this at this point. 2 done, 3 to go. And with 1 more dehydrated money injection, I retrieved my gold axe, and demanded the same be done to my pickaxe. I scored some more fall crops from the additional zone, including 10 beets, and began a day filled with using my new axe, featuring seeing a few Ridgesiders in the area.
I wonder about that guy. Something's going on there. I'd like to know what it is.
Seems like the kind of thing that might open up once you complete the community center, don't you think? And speaking of Ridgeside, I had a painful realization.
I have just realized I have gone through this whole process, and I literally could have just sold the pumpkins to heaps, couldn't I?
I did this whole big strategy just to make sure I had enough money to buy the second round of pumpkin seeds without being able to sell the first harvest because Pierre would be closed on the day they mature, and I could have just not done that and used the Ridgeside place in my Ridgeside playthrough.
No! No!
It seems, despite everything, I am still a goober.
I'm only just starting to get good at the base game. Still don't quite know what's going on with the rest of it.
Well, more money is good, I suppose. And speaking of which, I crushed this quest in 1 day.
Nice.
And I had a nap in the guild hall. The fabled pumpkin harvest I had officially over-prepared for had arrived.
I miss the iridium scythe right now.
I did this little wiggle with my cursor to harvest and replant at the same time, and ended with a whopping 730 pumpkins. I made a respectable 25 kegs to start work on making pumpkin juice out of all these guys, bought out on coal so I could smelt more metal for more kegs, and headed to Ridgeside to check on the realization.
Huh? What in the hell is happening right now?
I took my first Ridgeside special order and a smaller quest whilst listening to this strange, right ear heavy tune. I cashed in on the heaps plan that had occurred to me yesterday.
I'm gonna sell you oh, and a little bit of
And suddenly, the money problems had disappeared. Feeling a bit more free, I explored Ridgeside a bit and said,
What is this music? I don't dislike it, it's just very not Stardew. But I guess it isn't Stardew Valley, it is Ridgeside.
so I sort of just vibed to Ridgeside.
I can't wait to dig into Ridgeside and see what's going on here, man.
I was still operating on the belief that I had to wait until the community center was done to see the best of this place, but about that, stay tuned.
Autumn drop berry. That looks suspiciously like the ivy person. What's this? Highland chard. What'd you call me? I ain't charred, I'm well done.
I also found this item, a lava lily, and witnessed another edible item just simply not give me any energy back.
Did I not just eat a salad? Hello? Did I not just eat a salad?
That's a strange one, folks, I won't lie. Anyway, plus one more forage, a
Summit Snowbell.
whole bunch of wood, and a nice little nap next to the public transportation. I put that coal I bought to work on day 67, and visited Marnie to buy 4 goats, named
Verwerters. Rob, Rannell, Snitcho.
1 white chicken, since all 4 of mine were brown,
Tralbert.
a milk pail and 2 autograbbers, and 3 ducks.
Kirby, Zacho, Mabo.
The pail went into service immediately, the 2 autograbbers followed suit, and I started making my first cheese of the run. I made and used my first preserves jar too to start making some blueberry jelly, and had Rob get to work on a deluxe barn, plus a workbench on the side. I retrieved my golden pickaxe, threw my copper hoe at him to steal, and bought more stuff because I really needed copper. I continued to apply acorns to my tree station, expanded my smelting operation, and the juicing operation too. Maintaining my animals became crucial from this point forward, so I made a point to pet them as often as I could remember. That is, until I stopped by the cart lady today.
Goat cheese and large goat milk and truffle oil. Son of a bitch.
And large cow milk too. I now only need the barn for a single unoiled truffle.
That just saved me some trouble.
Right after I bought him. The very day after.
I don't have to worry about petting my animals now.
I did, actually. Just only the coop ones now. Still, let me not be ungrateful. Cart Lady OP. I decided this was enough to warrant an errand run, starting with giving this amaranth to Marnie, from whom I purchased a couple heaters for my suddenly much less useful animals. Next was the community center, where I turned in 11 more things, completing 3 more bundles, earning these 3 things, one of which I popped down right here. Next was grabbing Linus's basket, on the way to smack a battery in this well-hidden lockbox. Following directions meant this rainbow shell had to go in this box at the tree station, and Linus was standing in a convenient spot, so I handed him his basket. Again, following directions meant these 10 beets had to go in Mayor Lewis's fridge, where I cashed in my first prize ticket. Those directions led me to the desert, where I handed this guy a piece of solar essence, and since I was there, I went fishing for a couple more fish I was missing. First catch sandfish, and
Woo-hoo! Alright.
scorpion carp, check. I haven't been mentioning it, but I was still fighting every night on my farm too, though the fountain was making that a little bit easier. And I dropped off the heaters for these nerds, and the sandfish for the Junimo nerds. Bundle complete. And last minute, I pulled up this guy for the fishing collections, and snagged my club card out of my own lumber pile. Busy day. I went after another fish on the morning of day 69.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What do you think you is?
Ice pip, check. I stole the steel hoe back from Clint soon after, which he stole back to Goldify, and swung by Robbie's to get a small amount of wood, some of which went into this house upgrade, because I had to get a kitchen to make these dishes in the chef's bundle.
I spent all my money. My money's all gone. Where did it go? Into supplies.
Primarily keg supplies, if we're honest. Not a bad investment. I handed Pierre a few miscellaneous things, and about half my remaining pumpkins, because I remembered that now, with the deluxe barn done, I needed to buy some animals. I bought 1 sheep named
Chi
and 3 pigs.
Browna, Shoku, Rekos.
It's all coming together. Kinda like these kegs, now I need more iron.
This is gonna be my keg corner. Corner with the kegs. Keg corner.
Welcome to the keg corner, more kegs. I sold a few pumpkins to snag seeds in advance, tossed some roe I got while fishing in my second preserves jar, and sought out another first catch.
Super cucumber.
Check. And I started looking at the fish collections again, including the Ridgeside fish. You'll notice I've caught 0 of them. I promise you, on the honor of not being full-on clickbaiting you, this does change. And speaking of fish,
I'm gonna go off the assumption.
that's one way to get a scorpion carp, I suppose. Level 9 foraging. My first pumpkin juice finished up the next day. Very juicy. Let's ship it. I grabbed my last fall-exclusive first catch, at least that I knew about, and started working on catching the ocean crab pot fish too. I spent a few hours hunting down the lava eel, but I got her eventually. I hid those last 2 from myself, and admired my progress on fish so far. I saw Kiwi walking by, and handed him a chocolate cake, which was tragically poorly received. Rip cake. I spent the night chopping ridge Ridgeside's trees, featuring a new forage.
A Highland butterwort.
On the way home, I discussed my thoughts thus far.
Ridgeside has that, like, mysterious aesthetic. It's got, like, something's going on. Something ain't quite right, but I'm not going to tell you what it is just yet.
Danger fruit, ghosts, missing people named Cookie, random rundown building. Yeah, she's got the works. I made it back in time to sell that forage and to pass out next to Robin and the monsters. But hey, check out that pumpkin juice. Yesterday's storm afforded me some more batteries, and Clint afforded me this sweet gold hoe. I had him get to work on a copper trash can for me and headed down to see Willie, where I knocked off a crab pot fish. I snagged this recipe from old boy, as well as 11 crab pots with which to expand this here situation. I planted a bit more in my tree station, picked up a lost book, and stumbled into this gravestone near the gondola.
Here lies Pegasus, the horse that could fly. Though only your saddle was found, we mourn your loss and cry. May your feet never hit the ground. We'll meet again in the sky.
And synthesis occurred.
Didn't you say something about a Pegasus incident? Did someone try to move a horse through this and it...
I was remembering this.
Warning. Please secure your horse in the horse compartment. We don't want another Pegasus incident.
Let's leave that there. Good news, though. I finally decided to try fishing in Ridgeside.
Oh. Mountain red-bellied dace.
And so, the chapter of being woefully lost begins.
That is a Ridgeside bass. Okay, all right.
I saw Maddie leaving our water's place, theory confirmed, as I hooked and caught
a cutthroat trout.
Oh yeah, these ones are weird. I thought I'd hooked a second one, but no.
It's a sculpin fish. Okay.
My brain was trying to shift gears from the tactically planning every step mode to the I have no idea what's happening mode, and I was having a little lag in the process. I identified, much to my disappointment, these, like an expanded, are listed in alphabetical order, so I couldn't use list proximity to figure out where to find stuff again. I admired the strange fruits in this orchard once more, and worked out the not fruit ones were all fair game in this village.
Hope there's aren't any like family trees or anything important. Don't mind me.
I had a little snooze in one of the family's backyards. I scored the achievement for a bigger house when I awoke in my house, and I immediately rearranged. I sold all the fish and forage I'd come up with on the trip, scored my first honey and aged roe, and turned on my copper stores in the tappers. I said hello to my animals, where I learned the goats were now adults, cause they making milk. Before
Stardew Valley Fair. Shit.
Totally forgot about that. I grabbed a few things in sheer panic and quickly spammed down my new tappers, snagged the available oak resin, and made it just in time. I chatted with everyone, including the Ridgesiders, which were almost all up north, except these three. I set up my grange like this, which scored me second place, which is great for completely forgetting about it. I'll take it. Then I said,
put 300 on green, mister.
Which I did for about 10 real minutes, which was enough to score me this sweet star drop. And the taste reminded me
of peace.
I snagged the rare crow too, and decided to spin a bit longer, and was able to just get everything else too.
It's fedora time.
And I used my kitchen to make a fried egg in my fedora. I turned in more of those things I was collecting, scored my copper trash can from Clint, and gathered from my many ocean crab pots, checking off almost everything from these things for the ocean. I spent the rest of day 73 hunting down more ore, during which I got the Slayer goal for dust sprites.
127 copper ore and 274 stone. I'm not upset about it.
The next round of juice was ready to go the day after. Tasted good money, and I scored my first duck eggs. Please ignore my obscenely full inventory.
Bing bong, the trees are grown.
Always good news. I sold Pierre my chunky juice pack, and with the proceeds, I polished off my upcoming seed needs in advance again, and ordered myself an upgraded deluxe coupe. I also scored my first maple syrup here, and my first farmed wool too. I made a few oil makers in anticipation of my piggy's produce, dropped off all those goodies I got today to the CC, completing the animal bundle and artisan bundle. And that was all the bundles in the pantry.
We're happy to help. It's not our house, after all. Yes. Yes. What? Where you going?
My little friend was a bit lost.
A little too much of the artisan stuff, huh? You gotta be careful. Them artisans will get you. Where? Home slice. Alright, there it is. Had a little bit too much of the artisan sauce, you know what I'm saying?
We got there in the end though.
Star number 3, done. Only 3 to go.
Back on the farm, I made another, albeit smaller, discovery.
I've never seen that fully lit up before. It's always been dark. It is an owl. Look at that. I've only ever seen that like as a silhouette. That's like a nice brown owl.
And I also learned you can get quality stuff from crab pots if you use deluxe bait. At least I think that's what happened here. I took a little nap here after running back with bait and watched a third installment of Junimo Restoration. I thus admired a reconstructed greenhouse on my farm whilst ripping pumpkins from the earth on day 75. I took a break to check the TV.
It's gonna be clear and sunny tomorrow. Perfect weather for the Ridgeside Gathering, which happens between 9 and 6.
Very curious. I completed the harvest with a respectable 729 pumpkins, plus the 5th and final Gold Star Ancient Fruit. Also check out my animals making the replant a pain. Y'all better get some fences acting like this. I juiced what I could, set up my greenhouse for future success, which I sowed with basically all the leftover seeds I had. Lenny sent me a letter day of for that event. Guess Lewis is the better planner, huh? I set out for the day.
I missed the cart lady again.
Gotta be honest with you guys, I have missed that thing most of the days that it is available. Genuinely only think I'd seen it like 2 or 3 other times so far than I've literally shown you. I tried to stop by Pierre's, but it seems he's locked up for the day. Ridgeside it is then. This turned out to be one of those full-blown time stops and everything events. I chatted with everyone, and slowly worked out this was a little shopping event where the guys and girls were competing to see who could sell more. Also, almost every person mentioned another person's name. Nifty way to sort of establish some relationships between the valley and the ridge.
What are you guys selling? Thorns? Whoa.
Yeah, I think the girls just won.
I will take this. I will take this. I will take this. I will take this.
Soon after, I had a realization.
Boys, girls, I'm rooting for everyone to win. I hope everyone sells what they brought. Oh, the girls are about to win because I bought more of the girls' stuff.
So, I had to take action.
Can't be having that.
So I bought a few more things at the boys' shop, bro code and all that.
Okay, now they each have 2 things left.
I was going for that everybody wins idea, because let's be honest, the girls' shop was better, but I can't be doing my boys dirty like that. Gus and Pico were working together on food today too. Now those are some dishes right there.
Salad at a discount.
Can't ignore that.
Plus 5 fishing.
I'll have those too, please. For once, Pierre didn't have a stall. Good job, Abigail. And this lady gave more suspicious, leg-related dialogue. Gotta say, I don't think she used to have those.
What's going on with the legs? There's a big leg motif going on with her.
Recording Watson was catching on around this point too. Carmen suggested I get some food.
Shit.
And I spotted a dynamic duo hanging out.
I really want to see what these two have to offer.
Stay tuned.
Blood, sweat, and tears were involved in making this doll. Hey Shane, did you forget the decorations? Can we just talk about how the girls' thing looks so theirs is literally like half falling over? What's going on with that? Come on. If I know dudes from my home, they'd forget decorations. They'd forget to have good items. It'd be a shit show. But that stall would be constructed within an inch of its life. It would be so sturdy. So sturdy, in fact, I'm buying the sturdy ring.
Don't worry, I bought this flute block from the girls too.
I cannot believe that I just got these 4 items.
I had Lewis kick off the concert that was apparently the second stage of this event, and lo and behold, Sam, Sebastian, and Abigail broke out the tunes. The absolutely stunning amount of people vibed in their own ways, and so did I. And so my very first Ridgeside event closed, a massive success. I admired my fantastic loot once I was home, featuring selling the beer for collections, and I got the last crab pot thing from the ocean as well. I added them to the farm instead, and passed out trying to fill them. Overnight, I heard the sounds of a giant tree falling. I finished the job on the morrow.
Shit, look what I'm holding.
Not quite sure what I said there, but I was thoroughly enjoying the spoils. I planted the saplings in the greenhouse, definitely the earliest I've gotten these trees going, and harvested my new sweet gemberries. My new lizard hatched.
Welcome to the squad, Cherto.
I sold only one of my sweet gems. I popped Cherto's long-lost cousin from Ridgeside in the incubator, and I actually remembered about the cart lady today.
Pale ale. I could complete the Pam quest if I wanted to. Gold bar, crab rig. Oh, we're gonna do it!
Folks, lock in. I've never finished the community center in year 1 before.
Oh, I didn't miss the red cabbage. That right there, that's a big deal.
I swung by Pierre's to grab some rice and sold him exclusively my gold star pumpkins for some cash. I turned this legendary pole into the dye bundle, along with these to finish the fodder bundle and this to finish the lakefish bundle.
That's the whole fish tank.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
So many wonderful bundles. Thank you. Thank you.
4 stars, 2 to go. This is what's left. I handed Pam that pale ale too.
That's a check.
Things were getting serious now, so I swapped in the suit.
It's all business, baby.
I put that rice to work and headed to the desert, where I found another power book in the ground. I'd come to commit this prismatic shard to the cause. Galaxy Sword, acquired. I handed good old Cannoli the sweet gemberry I didn't sell. Stardrop, acquired. On the way out,
Whoa! It's you again!
yep, still don't know what that is. Defending my farm from interlopers was now much easier, and I made a little time to drop this guy off too, before getting some much needed sleep in the grass, where I heard the sounds of Junimo restoration once again. I received the final vanilla crab pot fish by dawnlight, and began to consider my next bottleneck.
Start praying to the pig gods, because we need to get that truffle before fall is over.
I bought him on the 13th of fall. Hopefully that was soon enough. I made my first regular oil and hopped back to the desert, where I traded for a spicy eel and entered the caverns once more. The goal was not iridium, but rather a rabbit's foot drop from a serpent, because that's how I've gotten every single rabbit's foot I've ever gotten in this game to date.
And to get combat levels.
And that too. I took advantage of the purple mists where I could, but found no rabbit's foot on this day. Evelyn handed me a crop pot. Thanks, Evelyn. Don't mind my cavern full inventory here. And Emily swung by, since I'd gotten cloth from mummies.
Don't ask me how old it is!
And now I can use her sewing machine. Maybe one day I'll actually use that. I smelted my first caverns gathered iridium, applied my Ridgeside bought hyperspeed grow to this crop pot, sold my cloth, and crafted a bunch of bait.
The pigs are adults! Oh, that's good news.
And you know what that means. Truffle acquired, as well as more juice and more kegs. I used that new iridium to order this thing, procured more sprinkler making supplies, sold my first truffle oil, and used those supplies to get this greenhouse going. And maybe just a few more kegs. And some juicy cash. I scored the millionaire achievement with that sale, and the artisan achievement very soon after for crafting 30 different items. I was crafting a seed maker for ancient fruit purposes there. I reckon you know the drill. Willie handed me this thing, which you guys have told me in the comments actually has upgrades now? I didn't know that for these first 100 days, but I will be keeping that in mind. My tree station afforded me 48 fresh resin, and I had Robin start work on a fish pond and hand me a nice chunk of wood. I did this again.
Thanks, buddy, for taking all my money.
And I sought out even more wood in this yet still mysterious section of Ridgeside, with which I made some more preserves jars and more kegs. I don't have a problem, I swear. I also did a touch more seed making of other stuff and sold my extra garlic for collections. I started up with quartz smelting as well, in case I really did pull this community center off and suddenly needed more sprinklers for that island. You know the one. Clint had my new iridium pickaxe ready to go, and I again bought out on...
No, but I need to buy rabbits!
Oopsie. Guess that'll have to wait.
No!
I didn't have time to fix that, as I wanted to get to...
No!
I decided to prioritize that, and visited Pierre to sell just enough to be able to buy 2 rabbits.
Filet-o! Snooly!
So, thanks to my insistence,
I don't know what the requirements are for me to get a rabbit's foot from them.
I suspect that it was similar to duck feathers, so I'll keep being nice farmer man. I officially got some large cow milk, checking that off for collections, and I checked in on the vanilla wiki for that rabbit sitch.
Sufficient friendship.
Yeah, so they gotta like me. Sufficiently. I pruned almost all my grass for winter food for said sufficiency, and gated off the new animal husbandry corner for my new friends. My refined quartz grind ended with plenty ready to go, and I put a few more things in the keg corner because I just couldn't help myself. And I swapped in the last piece of clothing I'd found so far that I hadn't yet debuted. Hopefully with all this extra hay I'd scored from the wheat growth, the animals won't be going hungry even once. And with a few hardwood runs, I'll be ready to capitalize if the community center thing works out. I fertilized a mahogany seed on the farm next morning for the same purpose, added my crimson fish to my new fish pond, pet the animals, and ordered a second coop, with plans to get the chickens out of the way for more chances on feathers and rabbit's foot. Despite the day featuring very displeased spirits, I had nothing else I could do for the community center besides waiting for winter and petting my animals, so I went in search once again of a rabbit's foot drop from a serpent.
It's apparently like a 0.8% chance. If I just up my encounters, I should get it.
Encounters, I said, like it's a shiny Pokemon hunt or something. Worry not, it's not quite that rare.
Hopefully we get it at odds, or even better, under odds.
I came away with all this, but no foot was found. I smelted what I didn't use for bombs, popped pumpkins in my now much larger keg corner, pet my animals, and returned to the encounter grinding.
Also, we're getting combat XP, which is a secondary boon.
I did my best, but again didn't come up with a rabbit's foot. Though I did leave early because I wanted to see the Ridgeside version of Spirit's Eve. I grabbed the usual recipe from Pierre, and found a big chunk of ridge folk in the western half of this little layout. The dialogue was fresh and interesting as usual, but I must direct your attention to this one.
I wonder why nobody wears a mermaid costume for these events. Oh yes, of course, they would have a hard time walking around. Silly me, I should know that. Oh, nothing, dear. Were you a mermaid?
Now this wasn't a totally cold reaction. I'd had some suspicions for sure, but the extremely not subtle confirmation here was such a shock. Super curious where that's gonna lead.
Are they f***ing mer people? And I gave them country accents.
Merfolk equals country, confirmed. Also, this happened.
Why is he glowing? Why has he got glowing eyes?
That is also suspicious, not gonna lie. My caverns inventory got in the way once again when I reached the golden pumpkin, which may have broken the game a little.
Okay, well we're gonna speed walk, I think, is how this is gonna go.
Yeah, that cost me my ability to sprint. Weird.
I was gonna check and see who I haven't spoken to, because I think there are a few people I missed, but I now can't pause the game.
Ah well, maybe next year. Level 9 combat and some dough. Day 84 was my final harvest with another 735 pumpkins. Say what you will, I made that money problem go away. I got my first coop-laid dino egg today as well, and obtained proof that these provide fishing XP.
Got some new ideas to sleep on. I think that's a fishing level right there. Nice.
I started working on stocking my fridge with useful stuff around this point, and queued up an iridium axe with everyone's favorite bachelor. I ran a few things over to Gunther's Hall of Random Items as well, scoring the Treasure Trove achievement for 40 different items turned in. I processed geodes for more donatables, which added a nice extra chunk. And speaking of chunks, I got a few chunks of this stuff. I had all that smelted by evening, which allowed for more kegs, and I scored my first Dino Mayo 2 as the winds of fall finally subsided to the chills of winter.
It's that time where all the world gets just a little bit quieter than it used to be.
I stayed on top of the affection for my heated coop friends, and decided to move my crab pot to a more linearly convenient location. This shadow pal ran from me, as per usual, but I was more keen to head to Ridgeside. I wanted to seek out that remaining winter forage, and I knew the perfect spot. I found a snow yam, as well as a bunch of different Ridgeside forage.
Sierra Wintergreen, Forest Clumpberry, Ridgeside Clementines, Aurorean Iris,
and I got to hear what I presume is Ridgeside's winter theme. I snagged this terribly convenient special order on the way to purchase some deluxe speed grow for my greenhouse, before heading home to make sure I got Pelican Town sorted, in time to see the presumably juicier Ridgeside stuff. I tracked this dude down to score the magnifying glass. Secret notes, here I come. And lucky me,
Grok is right here in front of the community center.
That'll finish off the winter foraging bundle, and the whole crafts room.
When we're done here, we'll return to the other world.
5 stars, 1 to go.
It's just duck feather, nautilus shell, and rabbit's foot left.
And good news, right after finding this lost book,
Oof, day 1 nautilus shell.
Folks, we are down to exclusively animal items. I planted my winter forage seeds I was rewarded for the bundle rather chaotically, dropped off the greenhouse's fertilizer, and ran back to actually turn in these two guys, completing the chef's bundle and the field research bundle.
In the interest of getting a rabbit's foot as soon as possible, I am now about to slam Skull Caverns extremely aggressively.
And so after watching my final bout of Junimo reconstruction, I did exactly that. Willie asked me to fetch him a squid, but I was busy. I did grab my first crimson fish roe, pet my animals, and harvested these guys for Carmen's quest. I also quickly swung by Clint's to retrieve my iridium axe and order a copper watering can, and the dwarf shop to score this bomb book, this recipe, and some bombs. I couldn't help but witness my newly accessible quarry, which I immediately bombed. Once it was totally empty, empty, I made a move for the golden scythe. Not sure why, if I'm honest, but that's what I did. I did get some of those haunted skull slays finally for that quest from a million years ago, plus whatever this thing is. I secured the golden scythe fairly quickly and spent most of the rest of the day processing and gathering, featuring finding a secret note for this quest at a very convenient time and hunting down my first squid, which I managed to hand to Willie on his way home. And I snagged my first lingcod and perch too. Fish progress? Looking good. Day 87 was keg day. That'll probably be bomb money. And I repeated yesterday's morning tasks, featuring my rabbits being adults now, and a tree station run for resin and more tapper application, and having Robin move my greenhouse out of the way of my keg corner for now. I took a half day in the cavern, abusing purple mist every time it showed. I did score the Maypal syrup note, but otherwise came up empty on rabbit appendages once again. Hopefully we'll be under odds. This bomb money should help either way. I made sure to save and smelt the ore from these cavern trips. I knew I'd need it, but aside from the new usuals, plus a few extras, like finishing Carmen's quest, ordering a steel watering can, spending that bomb money on ore by mistake, and having Robin upgrade this coop to a big coop, I stayed on the grind. I found a strange secret note after the 83rd serpent said no.
Miner's Diary Chapter 1. Summer 4th, year 504. Or could it be negative 504?
I think it is indeed negative 504, and this note established some of the Ridgeside lore. It was interestingly consistent with Expanded's lore and detailed the founding of Pelican Town. Much like the cutscenes, feel free to pause if you want the juicy details. I ended the day with a cavern nap. No rabbit's foot that time either, but I did get all this. Carmen also dropped me a letter to thank me for the crab pot efforts, in which she invited me over. I'll stop by soon, Carmen, but I got something to do at the moment. Upon checking my coop, the other lizard had hatched.
Susu, what's going on, man? Welcome to the club. All right, this place is now full. Any chance? Woo! A duck feather. Okay.
The ducks have come clutch.
We are down to exclusively a rabbit's foot.
I was officially running 3 different RNGs at this point, the third being this lady, who interestingly had a couple of the other things I had struggled for previously. Ain't that something? I stopped by the community center to complete the dye bundle, and I think you know where I went from there. Unfortunately, despite persevering through much adversity, I still came up empty on my one remaining need. Though I did find a second installment to this miner's diary. This one established origins for the Feast of the Winter Star, and something about starfruit too. I caught a particularly risky nap, with the odds nearing even. I moved all my fowl over to the newly finished big coop, lobbed Pierre half of my gold star pumpkins for quick cash, demanded a gold watering can from old boy, requisitioned wood from old girl, plus a deluxe coop upgrade, and sold the other half of these guys to buy a bunch of rabbits.
Wapo, Leonard, Nuta, Grammy, Kuteo. I'd get more, but I literally cannot.
Hello, small friends. One of you is gonna lose a leg. Then I went to my new favorite place and said,
What's gonna happen is now that I've bought all the rabbits, I'm gonna get it from a serpent.
But today's hunt was...
Give me foot of the rabbit!
Yeah, still didn't find one. Though I did score this stuff. Pierre knocked on my door at 6 a.m. to advertise his upcoming stock.
Get off my lawn.
But as you can see, I wasn't having it. I took a beat to add more kegs to the corner and received another batch of juice. Gotta love pumpkin money. I grabbed the vanilla fruit saplings I didn't yet have whilst in the shop, and I grabbed these from this lady who still wouldn't sell me a rabbit's foot. Marnie, please help me.
Snumbus. Was. Woko.
With now 10 rabbits to my name, I figured some extra hay would be a smart buy. Not to mention some extra coal, which popped a quest?
Does that count? Okay.
So apparently, for these gathering quests, you can just buy it from the very guy who requested it? Wild. I spent a lot of time smelting today, including some additions to the furnace count, and started my obligatory rabbit appendage search at 6 p.m. I did come across another Ridgeside secret note, which had some interesting stuff in it. It established Ridgeside Village as being 200 years younger than Stardew Valley, and mentioned this funicular thing, and a tortoise. Again, I am now officially suspicious of torts. Despite asking nicely,
Más serpientes, porfa!
I encountered so few serpents today. And yes, we're over odds now. I very enthusiastically
Hooray.
harvested my freshly grown winter forage, which I turned to seeds and replanted in the hopes of leveling foraging. Most of this day was absorbed by the Festival of Ice.
What's going on, nerds?
Again with the enthusiasm. I was just really invested in this year 1 community center thing.
You selling a rabbit's foot by any chance? No.
I bought these 3 things instead, and chatted with absolutely everybody.
Too cold. I should have brought more coats. You're used to the warm ocean waters. The cold never really bothered me. I'm more worried about my wife. She isn't really fond of this season. The cold never bothered him anyway.
Then I showed these nerds who the best ice fisher in town was, and I earned these prizes. Peep the new drip and the new tree. I'm officially festive now.
Merry Christmas. Merry Chrysler.
My second coop was now deluxe, so I put my dinos in it, with plans to fill the first one entirely with rabbits. My greenhouse had provided all this since I'd last checked, which I replanted with entirely forage to hopefully snag level 10 foraging. I sold my first broccoli, seed made and replanted some powder melons, told Clint gold can not good enough, and did a little math just as I was about to buy these bombs.
150 times 5. 750 to buy the components.
In other words, I had just realized that in year 1 specifically, it is cheaper to buy the iron ore and coal and craft the bombs than to buy them from the dwarf. I took those bombs and this pumpkin soup to the cavern once again.
I know what I'm doing is weird, but I need regularity of serpent engages.
I decided to try resetting Skull Cavern level 1 for serpent spawns over and over again. This one dropped a houseplant, but despite considerable boosted serpent carnage, I still came up empty. I placed my houseplant of disappointment outside my house, smoked my first fish for funsies, and as for my rabbits...
No items. That's cool. That's fine.
Can you feel the pain? I was a man in pain.
You know, it would be nifty if I got a rabbit.
I snagged my copious oak resin once again, made some helpful trades, and dropped back in to employ the exact same strategy.
This is not Stardew Valley. This is Hunt Serpent game.
Gotta love how I didn't even mention Ridgeside. We're 94 days in, and I've been to Ridgeside so few times. But I suspect we're about to fix that.
Come on, everybody. Come on, you too. You think you're not part of this? You are. Come on. Oh, yes! Yes!
183 encounters, nearly 1.5 odds.
We're leaving. Goodbye. We got it. Yeah!
Now, it's time to finish the community center.
That's right! I got all 6 of them. All 6 rooms in the first year. Within 100 days!
You could say I was pleased.
Yeah! The last bundle. Farewell, Watson.
The Junimos returned to the spirit world, and I admired all the hard work finally paying off. I ran a victory lap around my furnaces and started planning for what I could only assume would be a massive Ridgeside extravaganza. I dreamed of that next to my bed, as well as level 10 combat. Thank you, Serpents, for scoring me Acrobat. Day 95 was Keg Day, but more importantly, I got to see this cutscene in Winter Year 1 for my first time ever.
Come on, get the Ridgeside people in here. I know this doesn't mean as much to them as it does to us, but I want them to see it too.
With the community center done and the Stardew Hero Award in my hands, I was finally thinking about Ridgeside as my first thought. If you made it this far, thank you. I'm thrilled to have been able to show you this community center scramble. I hope you got some laughs out of it, even if Ridgeside took a backseat for a while there. But don't be confused, we are not done. Not even a little. Now, Ridgeside enters the foreground. I stumbled immediately into a Yuma cutscene, thinking the friendship bonus affected the Ridgesiders too. This hit kinda close to home for me.
I feel like I relate to Yuma. He's like a young kid, I think, but like he's mature for his age, and I always struggled because that was me. Like I struggled to make friends because I was always weirdly mature for my age.
I had one of those had to grow up fast childhoods. Won't jerk any tears about mine here, but I had a feeling Yuma might be in the middle of one of those. Anyway,
200,000 money.
Feels good, man. Emily asked for rocks. Clint handed me my iridium watering can. Make the hoe now, sir. And I took a look at my skills. Fairly close to a master of 5 ways there. Lorenzo stopped by when I returned home, and he told me that apparently our families knew each other back in the day and had helped him and his get settled in the valley. He wanted to return that kindness by giving me stuff.
You've received deluxe speed grow, 1000G, spaghetti, and an old lucky foxtail charm.
It was a nice encounter overall, very heartwarming, but I was super intrigued about this thing. Used to be my grandmother's, apparently?
Can I put this somewhere?
And so the days of knowing exactly what I'm doing wane, and thus so do the ones where I'm clueless all over again wax. And I'm here for it. And if you clicked on this video, you probably are too. I tossed this into my important things box, proudly displayed my new trophy, bought some recipes from Gus, along with an obscene amount of coffee, and spent the rest of my money on wood. I found Emily to hand those rocks. I had plenty given the indecent amount of mining I'd done so far.
Rock rejuvenation.
Check. That wood, plus all the mining, plus the tree station, meant I now had 86 more kegs. Keg corner's starting to spill out a bit there. I also swung by that tree station.
I knew this was gonna be covered by trees.
If you've seen my other videos, you know what it's supposed to look like. The wizard wants a dark talisman, and I gotta talk to Krobus about that. But I hadn't donated enough to the museum for that yet. All I could think about though was that wizard theme music.
Boom. All right, I'm gonna go fish for the glacier fish.
So I tossed my line in the water.
Oh, that did stop though. Ooh, ha, ooh, oh, ooh.
Once I was done practicing my vowels,
Cause I caught, I didn't yet catch it. I caught the fish. Glacier fish.
success. I spent the rest of the night chopping what trees I could find.
Oh, I got some new ideas to sleep on.
Level 10 foraging. Whew. Massive day. Marnie showed up at my door to ask for a cave carrot. I don't know, Marnie. All them rabbits you sold me didn't give me a single foot, now did they? I got 14 pieces of mail today, 10 of which were recipes, 1 a sewing machine, 2 were requests, and 1 let me know Pierre's gonna be open on Wednesdays. Nice. I destroyed some plants in here to start growing strawberries, you know, just in case you folks want 200 days. Comment if you do.
Looks like the second batch of rabbits have grown up. The question remains. All right.
How about that? I sold that one for collections, along with a couple other first-timers, turned my horrendous amount of coffee into espresso, dropped a couple things off to work on accessing that rusty key, and headed to Ridgeside to do some fishing. I smacked into a Pika cutscene where he let me test out the new dish for his menu, and another cutscene that I think was a Maeve cutscene? It seemed like Joja might be coming to Ridgeside, and that Maeve had expectations for my farm's quality. And she seemed to have known my grandparents? I'm not quite sure, but I think I like where this is going. I was ranting about those expectations.
I've got almost all the skills.
Pika fed me something excellent, apparently. I bought an extra for future fishing needs, and a few of his recipes for sale too. I tried Tort's little spot for my first fishing endeavor, and found this...
Harvester trout.
I tried this river here near the Aguar lab thingy, and found...
Fixer eel.
I tried this waterfall in this canal, but found nothing new. I popped in to speak with Aguar since he was so close, and he dissed my pumpkin juice before summarily dismissing me. Maddie was similarly rude.
God, you guys are kind of assholes.
I sniffed around before I left, and found this mage's room.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I couldn't make any sense of it. I enjoyed some Ridgeside winter music whilst I fished a bit more. I took a look at the map for what I believe was the second time ever.
It's just kind of like this river. I mean, there's this waterfall back, Ridge Falls. You sure are calling that something. Hold on.
And so, I went exploring northward in Ridgeside for my very first time on day 96. I grabbed this special order along the way. Should be easy with all my animals. But then I found this.
It looks like there's something up. There is a thing up here. Oh. A mysterious man seems to be marking a map.
Meet Geo. This enigmatic fellow also apparently knew my family 2 generations up and was shocked that I could see their elven ears. Then they departed without any more info.
What was that about? That's a great question. I love when we ask reasonable questions.
I'd stumbled into some whole new area.
Look at all these trees. Good to know this is here. Wish I'd have known a long time. Here lies Buddy. Your time was too short. Oh, Buddy! I don't even know who Buddy was. Now I'm sad.
Rip Buddy. But what is all this?
A statue showing a woman wrapped by a snake. Her eyes seem to follow you.
Lovely. This house thingy was locked, and up above was Geo and Kiwi?
Don't chase Kiwi. Hate follow.
Yeah, you know, that's fair.
Fear? What you feel is not fear. You have not seen the things I've seen. Okay.
Yeah, so how about some fishing? I didn't catch anything new here, but I certainly had found something new. And just before obligatory night-night, I found another body of water and a log-blocked passageway to the west of where I started. And another blocked way with something strange.
There seems to be something blocking the way. Yeah, it kind of looks like that.
And then sleep. I sold my new fishing haul when I woke, snacked on Lorenzo's spaghetti, scored an extra duck feather, retrieved my iridium hoe, and ordered the steel trash can. I ventured back to the side of the ridge to further explore, but first had this little run-in with Keahi. Apparently Pika said my produce was good for cooking. Nice. I quickly stopped by those minecarts Lenny asked me about in spring and dropped everything they needed to get them working again. I stopped in heaps too while in the area and walked into some classic Stardew family problems. Long story short, Lorenzo and Anton, brothers, were butting heads about Anton's behavior recently, and the game kinda pointed me towards going to talk to him later. Then, after the cutscene, and on the way to my newfound location, 3 distinct people told me that I smelled awful.
Dude, what's going on? Why does everybody think this?
My best guess was that having recently taken care of my animals this morning had caused this, but I wasn't sure. Guess I'm just stinky. I took my stanky self to this pathway I unblocked, and met Geo once again. They curtly informed me that danger aplenty existed past here, due to some magical barrier ending. Upon inquiring about such dangers, they said,
You ignorant fool. Oh. Oh.
I was informed that this dangerous place held secrets, and for any that I could find and divulge, Geo would compensate me for them by allowing me to purchase items from him using spiritual essence? I was pretty lost at this, but they left anyway.
What is going on? Where am I and why? What is this? What is happening? That looks like those things that were around the ridge. What? Spiritual essence. Okay.
Pretty lost, man. Pretty lost. This fairly cryptic scroll did me no favors either, and more strange, ghostly enemies wandered towards me, inflicting nausea of all things, which prevented me from eating. That is dangerous. I found more of these odd structures too, with strong suspicions they mattered somehow. On a hunch, I tried using spiritual essence on this one, but nothing happened.
Whoa!
The monsters here were cut from a different cloth, it seemed.
Where am I right now? Whoa!
I retreated in as masculine of a way as possible.
30 damage!
I managed to slay that long thing and obtained
Mountain Mist Bloom.
I stood my ground at the entrance, finally having shaken the nausea, and managed to cleanse the area for the moment. I ran to the immediate north to try a small bit of fishing, but much like in Expanded, being attacked whilst fishing was fair game. I gave it another...
This is not gonna work out. It's not gonna work out.
It didn't work out. I tried once more to stand my ground at the entrance, but nausea made this entirely too scary.
What is going on up there, dude?
Something dangerous, that's for sure. I tried mining these, and was actually relieved it didn't work, and decided to just fish in this nice safe spot for a bit. I also had learned in the chaos that while you can choose to fail fish, spamming escape to fail will actually keep you locked in.
You can force lose constantly.
Gonna have to press that button only once next time. I chose to safely chop trees till the required sleep. I decided to play it a bit safer on day 98, and enjoyed my newly functional minecart system. And the town was happy about it too. There's something about Leiden's and Nightingale Orchard was snuck in this cutscene. I was curious, but was sufficiently distracted by a second cutscene where I learned Trini loves plants. I tried my best to be nice despite the frozen mess that these plants appeared to be, and we ended up watering the rest together. Cute. One of the other minecart stops, labeled Ridgeside Community Greenhouse, led me to this dilapidated building. I suspect that'll be my job to fix. I swung by that orchard too, which...
Oh, that's these guys, of course.
But it sure doesn't answer who exactly Leiden's is. I did start talking about my theories around these things though.
Yes, so that seems to correlate directly to whatever's going on up top.
Didn't know why, but something was... Hang on, I haven't seen that person yet.
Who are you?
This individual was not in the socials.
You aren't even in here. Am I supposed to know who you are? What are you? Who is this? Who is this person?
I decided to stay focused. I wanted to know more about the Geo situation. I entered his little home thingy after he threatened me.
Oh, God. I figured out where she's from.
These two wild cards were intensely talking about some kind of plans. Or something. Not really sure, but man, I bet it was important. I was unfortunately focused on something else.
Not the extremely edgy, but also appealing alt couple.
Geo noted that I was alive, indeed, well noticed, and this Dia chick started up with the flirting.
And who's this cutie?
I was apparently interesting to her.
Let me have a look-see. I'm getting vampire vibes immediately.
And immediately, things got quite complicated. Whip out your pause game for the specifics, but apparently these two were both keeping their eyes on me because I was the farmer's grandchild. The elf confirmed the offer on browsing their wares in exchange for spiritual essence from what I now knew was called Ridge Forest, while the probably a vampire lady offered many hints and cryptic tidbits on my predicament flirtatiously. Apparently there was a seer and an empty book but not empty, and a lot of quests and things. I was so unbelievably dazed and confused in this situation, but apparently I'll meet that seer, and Dia just kind of kept up the pressure.
Okay, ma'am, I'm gonna need you to back up. I'm gonna need you to take 2 steps back. Cult shop is unlocked. That's an apt word. Yeah.
I checked my journal afterwards.
The preparations, a special quest given by the seer through her subjects. Learn more about the relics in the Red Book at the ninja base. Okay. I didn't see any of this coming.
Mod that adds new people, they said. It's just a new town, they said. There was this remarkably sized list of items, and this book with information about cursed artifacts that seemed to contain hints and riddles about how to find them. This table had a quest on it that seemed to be a sub-quest, maybe? Sure, why not? This is in my journal now, too. This book was the cult shop. So far, outside of cosmetics, these were the only 2 things I could procure, though both looked very useful. I grabbed this one, had a small snoop about, and decided to return to the simplicity of chopping trees, during which I found this star shirt. I took another quick crack at fishing in this danger zone, and managed,
ooh, pebbleback crab, okay.
but was otherwise run off once again. I chose once again to fish where it was safe in the hopes of obtaining my last level 10 skill. And I almost made it home. I scored a whole lot of iridium winter forage on day 99. Ain't they just beautiful? I put the hat away and grabbed my favorite shirt I'd found so far, and spent the first part of the day on keg refilling. I saved animal products for the Amethine order, had Clint upgrade the trash can once again, sold Pierre 192 pumpkin juice, grabbed a conveniently timed special order from Linus, and went fishing for trash in the mines. Until 5 p.m. I went straight for the submarine, popped one of Pika's crazy good fishing dishes, and set to work.
So I gotta get the exclusives and hopefully an octopus.
The first 2 showed up quickly, and with a lucky bubble spot, the third was short order as well. And with a little bit of luck.
Oh, that's it! Oh, okay. Hang tight. We're here. We're locked in. That's right. I know how to deaden it. That's right. I know how to. That's right. That was awesome.
That, folks, was my cleanest catch of a hard fish ever, I think. No extremely strange sounds required. Fishing collection looking good. I stayed for more fishing XP and passed out down here under the sea. I hid some of my catch from myself, just in case, and swung by Ridgeside to try and snag however much fishing XP I still needed, featuring another very convenient special order from Blair this time. And after about half a day of Ridgeside fishing,
you got some new ideas to sleep on, baby. Never mind, we did it just in time.
Hard to be upset with that.
I'm the master of 5 ways. Yeah.
I stopped by the desert on the way home to tell this blockhead to beat it, and to buy a nice chunk of starfruit seeds. I harvested my crops on the farm that now contribute to mastery, bought a few things at the night market, earned a pearl for being a good listener, saw Mr. Aguar smile for a change, and stopped by this little mastery cave. Hadn't earned anything in it just yet, but entry was an achievement in itself. I harvested the greenhouse too, planted a couple miscellaneous seeds, plus a bunch of starfruit ones. Gotta be prepared, am I right? A fairly strange monster spawned on the farm too. Kinda concerned that has something to do with Ridge Forest, I must admit. But it's okay, because check out my new painting. I compulsively spent my Ridgeside totem at this very late hour, just so I could maybe see one more strange or wild thing before 100 days was over, and I actually found one of the cursed items. items.
I have black diamond, 2 of them.
Love that doubling perk. This tent was fairly suspicious too, but I had so precious little time left.
Oh man, I cannot wait to find out what's going on with all this. It's huge. It's huge.
Yes, my 100th day of Stardew Valley Ridgeside ended with the most basic, that's what she said line of all time. Perhaps I'll snooze behind this massive wood. And of course, I scored level 10 fishing, whilst dreaming of what might still lurk in the places of Ridgeside I still hadn't been. But those dreams will just have to remain dreams for now. If you want to see 200 days, where I, actually explore Ridgeside, press subscribe, comment below, and then have a gander at this video where I played Stardew Valley Expanded for my first time ever. And hey, thanks for watching.